Welcome to How to Play by Cathouse Gaming, where our goal is to explain the key game mechanics needed to get you and your table mates playing. We know you'd rather be gaming, so let's get started.
Hey guys, today's game is Hens. Hens is a fun and lovely game about navigating amazing giant chickens around a farmyard in order to consume gem grain to lay bejeweled eggs. Hens is played over the course of 3 rounds, and each round is made up of 3 phases. In the beginning of each of the 3 rounds, the farmer is going to seed the yard with gem grain. Then each player goes through the roll phase, where they're rolling dice in order to determine what their actions will be in the action phase. During the action phase, players use their dice rolled in the roll phase in order to navigate their chickens around the farmyard and consume gems. The gems are immediately placed onto the bejeweled egg, and the jeweled egg scores points based on the rarity of the different types of gems, as well as the space that the gem occupies. So smaller spaces and common gems are going to score the fewest points, while larger spaces and uncommon gems are going to score the most points. The player with the most points wins. Place the gems into the cloth draw bag. Place the main game board, the gems, the farmer dice, the egg timer, and the pecking order tokens in the center of the table. Place the farmer on the board on the leftmost column of the row corresponding to the number of players. If you're playing with the power cluck cards, shuffle the cards and place them near the board as well. Each player chooses a color and takes the egg board, action board, and dice of that color. In a 2-player game, all 8 dice are used. In a 3-player game, only 7 are used, and in a 4-player game, only 6. Each player places their chicken token in the henhouse on the main game board. Each round has 3 main phases: the seed phase, the roll phase, and the action phase. Take a look at the chart on the top right of the main game board. It determines how many dice the farmer will roll for each column and row. This changes based on the number of players as well as the current round. For example, in a 3-player game, the farmer will roll 2 dice for each row and column in the first and second rounds, and only 1 in the third. The rolled dice are placed onto the corresponding spaces of the main game board. Only 2 dice can fit on any given row or column, and it's possible that all 3 dice rolled for round 1 of a 4-player game are the same. If this happens, re-roll the 3rd die until it is unique. Once all of the dice have been placed in the rows and columns, it's time to seed the yard. Gems are distributed into the yard top to bottom and left to right. So, starting on the top left of the board, place 1 gem in each spot where the dice intersect. If there's an intersection with 2 dice in either the row or column, the space gets 2 gems. If there's an intersection with 2 dice in both the row and the column, the space gets 3 gems. Each space can only hold 3 gems, which may become relevant in subsequent rounds or when scratching. More on this in a bit. In the roll phase, each of the players has an egg timer's worth of time to roll their dice as many times as they like and place their dice onto their action board. Each pip value corresponds to a different action, such as movement of 1 to 3 spaces, scratching the yard, and becoming start player. Once the egg timer is out of sand, pecking order is resolved. Each player who placed dice with 6 pips onto the 6 pip section of their action board rolls all of the dice available within that section. The player with the highest roll takes the first pecking order token. The next highest roll takes the second pecking order token, and so on. The dice that were just rolled move into their respective places on the action board. So if I rolled a 2, a 3, and a 5, they would be placed onto the 2, 3, and 5 spaces of the action board. Any 6s become wilds and can be played as any other action. Ties for pecking order cause the players to remain in the same pecking order. If a tie happens in the first round before a pecking order has been determined, the tied players re-roll their lowest value die, and the player with the highest new result wins. A player who doesn't participate becomes last in pecking order, and if more than 1 player doesn't participate, their pecking order is randomly determined based on the remaining pecking order tokens. In the newly determined turn order, players take turns resolving a single die and taking the corresponding action as determined during the roll phase. Actions can be taken in any order and will be either movement of 1, 2, or 3 spaces, or scratching of the yard to reveal additional gems. After all actions have been taken, the chickens return to the henhouse for the night, and all dice are returned to the players or the farmer. The farmer token moves to indicate how many dice will be rolled for the next round. Dice with a pip value of 1, 2, or 3 allow the player to move their chicken within the yard in a straight line, 1, 2, or 3 spaces. Chickens must move the full allotment of movement unless they run into a wall or another chicken. So if I play a 3 movement die, I must move my chicken 3 spaces in a straight line. The only very slight exception to the straight line bit is when the die is used to initially leave the henhouse. In this case, the henhouse doesn't really count as the starting space as much as the ramp the player uses does. This means that the chicken can travel straight out from the henhouse or along its walls to the right or the left, with the ramp counting as the first space of movement. Scratching in the yard reveals more grain. Players place their 4 or 5 pip die in any available row or column. Each can hold a maximum of 2 dice. Once the die has been placed, gems are added to the yard where there are intersections from previously placed farmer or scratch dice. For example, I place my 4 pip scratch die in the second row. There is 1 die in the column 1 and 2 in column 4. 1 gem will be pulled from the bag and placed in the second row in the column 1 and 2 gems in column 4. It's the same process if the scratch die is placed in the column instead of a row. Gems are distributed into the yard top to bottom and left to right. As previously stated, each space can hold a max of 3 gems. A 4th gem is simply not drawn. Any gems that land on a chicken-occupied space are immediately consumed by said chicken, whether they like it or not. Remember how I said movement stops when the chicken reaches an obstacle such as a wall or another player? Well, chickens can actually shove other chickens out of their way, but it costs the shoving chicken a movement die. The chickens will move until one of 3 things happens. The shoving chicken stops shoving because it has run out of movement. This is based on the pip value of the movement die used by the original chicken to move within the yard. 2. The shoved chicken stops being shoved because it has run out of movement. This is based on the pip value of the movement die used to shove the chicken. Or 3. The shoved chicken runs into an obstacle such as a wall or another chicken. For example, if my chicken has to stop forward movement because it's run into another chicken, I can pay a movement die to shove the other chicken. My chicken can only go as far as the die I originally played indicated. So if I played a 3 movement die for my chicken and the other chicken was in that 3rd space, that 3rd space is the furthest my chicken can possibly travel. If I play a 2 movement die in order to shove the other chicken will only move a single space and not the maximum of 2 because my chicken stops shoving it after the 3rd space of my movement die. If we change the example to keep the dice the same but move the other chicken into the 1st rather than the 3rd space of my movement, both chickens will only move 2 spaces because that is the maximum value of the movement for the other chicken. Both chickens consume gems contained on the space where their movement stops. Once consumed, gems are immediately placed onto the player's egg or beside it into an unused pile. The egg is separated into 7 sections, each containing space for 2 to 5 gems. In general, each section can only hold 1 type of gem. The bottom of the action board describes the quantity of each type of gem as well as its worth in the various sections of the egg. The more rare the gem, the more valuable it is. Amber gems are the most plentiful at 24, but are worth the fewest points. Diamonds are the rarest at 7 and are therefore worth the most points. The only exception for gem placement are the pink imperfections. Pink gems can be used to fill in incomplete sections of the egg regardless of the type of gem already present within the section. But because they are imperfections, they are worth -2 points each at game end. Imperfections that are not placed on the egg are instead worth 1 point per gem. For an added twist, gem hens can be played with power cluck cards. Power cluck cards allow you to break the rules. Examples of these powers include the ability to reroll a single action die during the round, eat a gem while traveling, eat a gem on an adjacent space, move through other chickens, or move in an L shape. If you decide to play the game with the power cluck cards, and you should, deal out 1 per player face up near the board after the farmer has seeded the yard. Review the cards, and then proceed with the roll phase and the determination of pecking order. Immediately after the pecking order has been determined, the last player selects a power card, then the second to last player, and so on until all players have a card. If you have questions on the cards, take a look at the last few pages of the rulebook. It does a solid job of explaining the powers. Cards are discarded at the end of the round, and new cards are drawn after the farmer phase of the next round. The game ends immediately once all players have taken their actions during the 3rd and final round. Each player sums their final score using the table on the bottom of their action board to determine the value of the completed sections of their egg. Ignore incomplete sections, which are worth 0 points. Next, add or subtract the value of unused gems. Unused imperfections are worth 1 point each, while unused gems are worth -1 to 7 points, depending on the gem type. Lastly, subtract 2 points for every imperfection within a completed section of the egg. The player with the highest score wins. Select your location for placing of your gems with care. Pay attention to the scarcity of the gem. So for example, there's only 7 diamonds in the game. And prior to placing your newly acquired diamond, count how many of that 7 is available or already taken on other player boards. If 3 of the 7 have already been placed on other player eggs, you probably don't want to place your diamond in your 5 space. It could be worth a gamble. It's worth a lot of points, but it is definitely a gamble. See what you like from a risk standpoint. Speaking of gambles, take a gamble every now and then and scratch in the same row or column where your chicken is, where your other player chickens are. Why? Because it's fun. You might get exactly what you need in order to finish off a specific section of your egg. You might hose yourself. You might hose another player, sticking them with negative points right at the very end of the 3rd round. It's fun. It's a short game about bejeweled eggs. YOLO. You now know how to play Gem Hens. Go forth and may the best chicken win. Exactly right, Kira.